Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're going to be reviewing America Chavez's new uniform, which actually provides pretty good upgrades to her use in both PvE and PvP. Now we're going to be mostly focusing on PvP because I think that's where she's going to shine overall. But as you can see here, she's pretty good against types that are not called blast types. Now that was probably my best performance yet against the team in PvP, so I don't expect her to be that good. I'm actually a little shocked that she did that well with just random team that I picked in the top 10 or top 15 of Vibranium. So maybe, you know, we usually have to talk up the character because they're struggling. Now I have to sort of talk down the character, because when I show you America Chavez's build, you're going to gawk at how bad it is. But yeah, that player was in the top 15, I believe. Yeah, number 12. If I go up against number 1 here, you'll see maybe a little bit more of an accurate portrayal of her PvP value. But here's the thing. She gives all allies 40% HP, which is huge, as a passive buff. So she's automatically going to replace characters like Victorious, characters like Red She-Hulk, etc. She's just straight up a better support. She also gives all allies 50% reflect reduction. That was actually a much better showing. She killed Thanos, but she also died. So, but the 50% reflect reduction is actually really important for having Thanos on your team. So that's actually why I have Thanos on this team. The other thing that I want to showcase for you is that America Chavez support, and possibly if you add to that Molecule Man, creates a 100% reflect reduction effect. And that's very powerful if you find yourself using characters like Thanos, who die very easily to things like Reflect. So we're going to go ahead and find ourselves a team that has Emma Frost, I believe. So this team here has Emma Frost. And so the 50% reflect reduction from Molecule Man and the 50% reflect reduction from America Chavez. This creates a situation in which Thanos doesn't have to worry about Emma Frost at all. So I'm going to switch over to Thanos. I know this is not a Thanos review. This is an America Chavez review, but the passive is important to showcase. So here, okay, I still died. However, it's a lot slower. You die a lot more slowly, and if I hadn't switched to Thanos until Emma Frost was in, he can actually kill her one-on-one, which is huge. Let's run it back and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're back against the same team now. We're just going to wait for Molecule Man to die, and then we're immediately going to switch to Thanos. Okay, so now this should be a much better example of how he can actually tank her reflect and continue fighting. So this is pretty huge. He actually can get the kill. Now, of course, you have the whole switching into Thanos, like Emma Frost switching into Thanos and the reflect activating right away. I don't know if that has an issue with the reflect reduction, but as you can see, when he's in the fight against her, he can actually hold his own now, which is huge. It can actually turn the tables for you in a positive way. And Molecule Man's leadership is really good for other reasons, but it's not just Molecule Man here. It's the combination of him and America Chavez. So what you have there is, on her uniform passive, you have all allies 40% HP, which is awesome. Really, really good. And then you also have the decrease reflect by 50%. This is going to remain meta for a long time, because even if you don't use Molecule Man necessarily, if future characters come out, if Silver Surfer gets another uniform, etc., Reflect is a really powerful tool in PvP, and we're seeing that because Silver Surfer was meta for a long time, and now Emma is meta based pretty much solely on the Reflect. If you don't have the Reflect, she's much less powerful, and she really just relies on that third skill, counterattack. So America Chavez actually provides a lot of value there. It's funny that she sort of gets countered by typing because she's combat and not speed or something like that. But yeah, she's pretty solid, I would say, for PvP. Pretty solid. So here's the build that you're going to be a little shocked by. We've got just 5 and 4 star Uru, or 5 and 6 star Uru, excuse me, HP, a little bit of dodge. We got Pyro Angry Hulk stage 11. And then we've got an Obelisk with guard break immunity, ignore dodge, and 3 seconds of invincibility. If you wanted to use her in PvP seriously though, I highly recommend giving her either a mighty CTP of authority or perhaps a mighty CTP of regeneration. As much as you want to stack the HP because she has that crazy 40% HP passive, I do still think the steal effect on the mighty authority is really, really good, because America Chavez actually doesn't have flat damage reduction. She only has physical damage reduction, which is really good against physical damage characters like Spider-Man, but she already has type advantage against Spider-Man, and there's actually not that many physical damage characters outside of Spider-Man in PvP these days. Most of them are dealing energy damage, and so because of that, you probably want to go with the Authority to give her additional damage reduction so that she can, you know, tank even more and tank until she gets her 6th skill off, so she could probably get some kills. Now then, we know she's pretty good as a support in PvP. We'll explore what she can do in PvP later with a more focused PvP build, but what can she do in PvE? I went ahead and gave her a double crit damage 200 proc. Crit damage and ignore dodge or something like that would probably be a little bit better, but this is fine with the 200 proc. Keep in mind that she does have a 30% crit rate buff, which is huge, on her 5th skill for 7 seconds. So because of that, you can actually soft cap her crit rate at 45% and be just fine. She only has buffs on 5 and 4, 5 and 3 outside of her 6th skill, so you don't really have to worry about pressing too many skills to get too many buffs while you're playing. But the main issue, the main problem with America Chavez is that you need to accumulate, because she is damage taken. And damage taken, of course, is a lot harder to do because of iframes and things like that versus most bosses. So you're going to see a lot of content creators, myself included, showcasing America Chavez versus Mephisto, because Mephisto does a lot more damage to you. He cuts through your iframes, and he leaves a lot of lingering effects on the battlefield, that burn effect, etc. And that will all accumulate lots of damage received. So I would say, just right off the bat, unless you really love America Chavez, you probably shouldn't heavily invest in her for PvE unless you're trying to get over the hump of certain stages in Mephisto World Boss Legend. But she's actually quite good specifically for Mephisto, because not better, like there are better characters for Mephisto, especially when you go to stage 25 where it's combat only. You have Shang-Chi, you have Cull Obsidian, you have Dr. Octopus, you have even like Sif, for example. But the reason why I highlight America Chavez is because of that 40% HP. Right, that 40% HP is going to make you so much more tanky, and we know that Mephisto is notoriously difficult to deal with at high stages because of how much damage he does to you and how much it, you know, just obliterates your HP, and then you just can't survive. So here you can actually use her own attack, her own leadership, or what you can do is use Sif's, which is crazy, because then you're going to have basically a better leadership offensively, and you have an extra 30% HP. So with 70% increased HP, let's see how much HP she has. So here we go, stage 29 of Mephisto, and I believe in America Chavez's tankiness so much that I'm actually not going to bring any defensive strikers. But what you do need to do instead is you need to wait for Mephisto to hit you so that you can accumulate. So you do have to play pretty strategically. I do want to proc on, you know, 3 cancel 5 or 3 cancel 5 cancel 6. That's generally speaking where you want to make your procs. There I accumulated, but then my 5th skill wasn't ready. So honestly, playing America Chavez is a lot of this. It's a lot of just waiting and waiting, and then you just pop the 4th skill for the heal. Okay, there we kind of goofed up. That's okay. There we go. Okay, so we're actually already in the next phase. So in a way, you can actually do really well with America Chavez if you get a lot of accumulation. I still think there are better combat types out there, but she can actually really surprise you with her damage if you, you know, are patient enough. As you can see here, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all, but you have to be patient enough, and that's really where you're gonna not only lose time by having to be patient, but I think it's just not gonna be the right, you know, it's not going to feel the right way for a lot of players. They're just going to feel impatient. They're going to feel like it's, you know, kind of a waste here. You also have to be careful because you are trying to accumulate. You're trying to get hit. But at the same time, that comes with its own set of issues because you can push it too far and then end up, you know, putting yourself in a situation where you're taking too much damage. Now, she does recover pretty well. The good thing about having really short animations and really few hits is that you can get out of them quickly to run around. So she sort of has that going for herself. However, here, for example, I know Mephisto can't hit me, so I actually can't do anything, and I have to just wait for him to hit me so that I can then accumulate. And he's just doing the same move over and over again. There, he hit me, so I can go into my rotation. I didn't proc my 6th skill, which is awesome, so we're going to try to proc on 4 instead. But you can see how it's super easy to just lose tons of damage and tons of time because you're just waiting for the boss to do something so that you can do something yourself. So it's kind of just an unfortunate byproduct of the, you know, damage when taken accumulation type. You can try using the environmental hazards around you, like the tornadoes and the puddles to accumulate, but it's a lot harder in my opinion, and it's a lot less consistent. So there we got a decent amount of accumulation. That definitely could have been better, that could have been worse, but we do need to play pretty aggressively in this phase because there's actually a lot fewer opportunities to accumulate here. It's basically just this punching animation that allows you to accumulate most of the time. And so because of that, yeah, see there, I didn't accumulate at all. When you don't accumulate, the damage is hilariously low. It's like a bar or less. Here I would love to accumulate on this hit, but I can't. So we sort of just have to... That's basically the only other attack that you can accumulate on. Yeah, see, now that he's enraged, we basically just can't do much. And this is where you're going to lose a lot of time. And I think a lot of people are going to just lose their patience. Much like other accumulation characters, but, you know, amplified even further because of the fact that here, maybe with the puddles, but we procced early. Okay, awesome. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to accumulate on the puddles, but then we proc early, so then it's just kind of wasted. You can try to accumulate on this attack, but it's super dangerous because of the amount of damage that it does to you, right? Even with 170,000 HP, it still manages to do almost 100% of her HP, which is pretty nuts. Her fourth skill is actually not bad for damage. I wonder if proccing on 4... It's kind of hard to proc on 4, eh? Yeah. Honestly, like, there are better combat types. There's actually not that many better combat types, but there are better combat types. So I would say just focus on building one of them, especially with Dr. Octopus coming out recently. You have Dr. Octopus, you have Shang-Chi, and you have Black Dwarf. I think those three make a really good case for you. Now there, I don't know what I was trying to do. I think I was trying to accumulate. It didn't work, obviously. There I tried to accumulate on the puddles. We're playing pretty badly, but it's also just a product of the accumulation being really hard to achieve in this last phase because of the fact that Mephisto is just sort of, you know, he's just punching you. He's not doing anything else. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to, okay, yeah, for these puddles, we're going to see if we can accumulate on this and get enough damage. We are not. Okay, great. So we're probably going to lose here. Try to accumulate on 5. No, we're going to run out of time. Okay. So if I was a little bit better at accumulating, I'm honestly not that good at it. We could have probably gotten this done. But as you can see, there's a lot of problems with accumulating when damage taken. And so I wanted to highlight that, and I think this is probably a good example. Again, I could have played better. You can definitely finish stage 29 with her with an obelisk, which is good if you wanted to go further with like a CTP of energy or something like that. But it's sort of like, you know, you're trying to play the game on hard mode, right? You're trying to play the game more difficult in a more difficult way. So my advice, my suggestion, the build that I'll be aiming for is a PvP build. I'll probably be going with a mighty CTP of authority, and then using her as a support for characters like Thanos and other characters that are weak to reflect because of that tanky HP and that reflect reduction. And then she's also just a really good tank versus speed physical characters like Spider-Man. She's very, very good one-on-one against them. So she does give you quite a lot of coverage in PvP as a support and as a minor damage dealer. And I think that's where she's really going to shine. Sort of like a better version, a more flexible version of Luke Cage, minus the physical reflect that he has. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of America Chavez. One of the most bizarre reviews I've ever done in terms of like the PvP performance being way too good and then the PvE performance being way too poor. But hey, it happens sometimes. Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.